Police in North Miami have accidentally shot a behavioral therapist who was trying to help out when the 911 call reported that someone was waving a gun. We have a video of this situation. We're not going to show you the person getting shot, whose name is Charles Kinsey, the behavioral therapist, but here is the entire situation. Take a look.
Shut up! Shut up, boy!
But why they shot the black boy and not the fat boy?
Even the idiot watching knows how ridiculous this was. So the person you saw sitting up was an autistic man who had a toy truck, and the police reported that they thought that that was a gun. Here is a quote. This wasn't a mistake in the sense that the officer shot the wrong guy, or he thought that Kinsey was the bad guy. This coming from John Rivera, the Dade County Police Benevolent Association president. The movement of the white individual made it look like he was going to discharge a firearm into Mr. Kinsey, and the officer discharged trying to strike and stop the white man, and unfortunately he missed the white male and shot Mr. Kinsey by accident. The statement goes on, Mr. Kinsey did everything right. Let's be real clear about that, Rivera said. He said that the police officer involved in the shooting wishes nothing but the best for Mr. Kinsey, and the officer is praying for his speedy recovery, as are we. Yeah, what do you guys think? You saw the video?
He said, I remember when the story first came out that it was like, Mr. Kinsey asked, why did you shoot me?
Yeah.
And he said, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's true.
Which is weird, because it took days. It took like a lot of time. And all my mind fills in, and I just speaking on behalf of like the normal person watching this, is like, so they must have just gotten together and been like, all right, what can we say? We wanted to shoot the, but their defense of their behavior is, we weren't trying to shoot you. We were trying to shoot the unarmed autistic man.
Whoa. He had a toy truck. He was armed with a very dangerous
And
toy
auto
truck.
accidents kill more people than gun violence.
Okay, but so here's my question. How similar did this toy truck, could it have possibly looked to a gun? You know what I mean? Because we hear this sometimes where it's like, well, from a distance or from how he was holding it, but this is a toy truck. It wasn't a toy gun. It wasn't a water gun. How could this have looked anything like a gun? To me, this is, unfortunately, kind of a textbook case of a lack of training on the part of the officer. You're going to de-escalate the situation by shooting one of the people that you think might have a gun, but you're not sure it is a gun.
Here's some information about where they were standing. According to a law enforcement source, the officer who shot Kinsey was taking cover behind a squad car and fired from at least 50 yards away. He shot after another officer in a radio transmission suggested the autistic man was loading his weapon, which turned out to be a toy truck, the source said. So maybe he's putting batteries in it. Or I don't know if it was a big loader, perhaps some gravel.
It's honestly, this is an absolutely inexcusable situation.
Yeah.
Especially now with the video, and I can't say enough how grateful I am that we have these cell phone videos these days, because the level of accountability, it's the bare minimum that we should be expecting. But it just makes me so frustrated that this guy was doing, Kinsey was doing everything right. Yeah. And at least they are acknowledging that.
No, he's over the top.
Over the top
like
doing everything
like
right.
you shouldn't
He explains who he is.
Lay on your back with your hands in the air when you're having an altercation with a police officer or any sort of.
You should have to do something that implies like, don't shoot me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the officers say that they were so far away from this man that they couldn't see if it was a truck. But like, okay, let's fix this.
Well, then why would you assume that it is therefore a gun? You know?
It's so weird. Why can't we get binoculars?
I don't know.
Binoculars and be able to have a sight on your rifle.
Shouldn't the bare minimum be to just be able to say beyond a reasonable doubt that it is absolutely a gun? You know,
look.
Why?
I mean, it's embedded in the language as well. Like the perception of a threat is so vague and it's so like impossible to disprove that in almost every instance of cop shootings, in almost every instance of use of excessive force, it's very hard to prosecute and charge police officers with criminal behavior. I mean, and that's why when you have 1,200 cases in 2015 and only 12 charges were brought, and only 2 of those 12 charges was actually manslaughter. Like, it's crazy to me. I mean,
there's certain steps we can take in the process, like don't have the local district attorney prosecute these cases because they work hand in glove with the police officers every day. It's going to be real weird to be like, all right, case 1, Officer Johnson found drugs in the location. Case 2, Officer Johnson shot somebody like a week later. Like, that's a weird dynamic.
And why can't you have civilians? Like, why can't you have the citizens that pay for the municipality, like community leaders, sit on a board that also reviews these cases?
Yeah.
Like, it's not that crazy to expect that. I mean, we pay for the police force. We pay them to protect us. Yes, they have authority. Yes, they have to make sure that everything in the community is safe. But that they shouldn't have the right to kill their citizens or shoot at the citizens and then also get away scot-free. I think that when you don't have a system set in place that goes after police officers or reprimands them for this sort of inexcusable use of excessive force, why would they stop? Why would they want to hold themselves? I mean, if no one's going to hold them accountable, why would they hold one another accountable? Why wouldn't they, in any instance where they feel threatened by a black person or a white person, or in any instance that they feel threatened, why wouldn't they shoot immediately? They have a gun.
Right. It's tough. I get it. Like, there's certain people within the law enforcement community who are trying to protect their fellow officers, but like the whole underpinning of the system is rule of law and enforcing that. It's so weird. I don't know if we said this yet. He's okay. Kinsey's going to be all right.
Isn't he expected to get out of the hospital, I think, a week from now or something? So he's...
He was
luckily
shot in
the cop
leg.
was so fucking bad at shooting that he was aiming at the autistic man and instead hit Kinsey on the side.
Yeah, such a weird... Here's a quote from Kinsey himself. I was more worried about him, being the autistic kid, because he works with him, than myself. As long as I've got my hands up, they're not going to shoot me. That's what I'm thinking. Wow, was I wrong.
Yeah.
Something else, and you know, I'm glad, this would have been the straight up, like it's so cut and dry to have a man sitting there with his arms up, not doing anything, in like
explaining who he is, why, like what the situation is. I think that's another crucial part of this whole story, is that he's saying, okay, like I am in this community group, like he's trying to give context to the officers, like what is happening here. And it really felt like it fell on deaf ears. And then it comes again to the question of training.
And then they're talking about calling for officers to be trained with dealing with autism and mental health related issues, which that's good. Of course, that's a good step to take. But is it necessarily the right one in this instance? Is it a symptom of cops not being trained appropriately to deal with mental issues, or is it something different? Do you know what I mean? There's a lack of training, but
I don't know why I shot you. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why I shot you.
Why are you so trigger happy? Why? Yeah, like why?
You should know. You should have an answer.
And I want to hear if the claim is that someone said on a radio transmission that it looked like the autistic man in question was reloading his gun. I want to hear that radio transmission where someone said he's loading his gun, as opposed to the thing I can hear on cell phone footage from outside the police perimeter of the man on the ground shouting, "It's a toy truck." Like, that's absolutely ridiculous. Now, as a comedian, I want to get your feeling on like my favorite part of the story, which is that that this man's Charles Kinsey's lawyer's name is Hilton Napoleon II.
Amazing.
Like, I think that's an amazing fact about it. Also, another fact is that a local representative said this is the kind of thing, this is not supposed to be happening in North Miami, as opposed to like, Tallahassee maybe.
Yeah, a pillar of all of Miami-Dade communities.
Don't get me wrong. This should happen somewhere in Florida. We've all agreed.
This happens in North Miami pretty frequently as well, by the way.
Yeah, maybe Fort Lauderdale and Miami proper, but not North Miami. This is a bastion of people on vacation.